Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League. Man, stay strong and keep the faith at the brink of duties, and CLG will not be put down. They actually take game number 1, Mazel.
They do. It was actually insane the way they did it as well, attacking those dragons early on, getting the stacking going, but as well as capitalizing on the mistakes of Wildcard. And that is the breath of life, that improvement that we wanted to see from CLG Faith. We saw a game 1 that represented a lot of that.
Cubby, you look like you want to say something, man.
I can't put your face in this frame behind me, so this is just the best I can do for my reaction to game 1. Yeah, this is exactly.
No. Oh no!
This is exactly how I felt after that game 1.
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that, Cubby. I love that absolutely. And you know what? It's a good time to get a win for CLGF because this is related to our segment that we're going to do right now. Less of a segment, more of a discussion with a lot of the other casters and talent, and it has to do with the anime comeback. I pulled up the teams who are from 10th and bottom down afterwards, 10th to 16th. And I asked all of our casters, minus you two, who they believe is the most capable of making an anime comeback after that season. Well, you guys have to rate them. You guys have to talk about them. You got to judge them.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and start pulling this up. We will have our first lower third in just a moment to see out of those bottom 10. And let me read those bottom 10 real quick. Let me read those bottom 10. It is Immortals, TSM, AoE, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid First, FlyFam, and victorious CLG Faith.
Okay.
Interesting right there.
2 wins on the board, baby. Let's go.
2 wins. Let's go, baby.
They doubled their wins.
I mean, they doubled the wins, but that one's way bigger than the first one they got early in the season. So, you know.
That one was definitely way bigger, for sure. And what a way to kind of take that momentum, right? We were kind of talking about momentum being so important in the cast, but and what a way.
You know, before we get that up, as you buy a little bit of time here, out of those names, who would be yours?
It's got to be TSM. They already beat CLG.
Yeah.
Like they've already started the anime comeback, man. They're starting strong. They beat the first gym.
I would have to agree.
I agree with that. A couple people agree as well. We can get that first lower third in when it comes to the topic of TSM. And I mean, it's definitely a team to be rooting for. Our producer, Emily, Sierra Dawn, and Joshi all aboard the TSM train. Emily just said they're looking okay. She likes it when they come together. She likes it when they're playing together. Echoed with Sierra Dawn. Josh says they look way better with Neo, and they are actually a reasonably balanced team now.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Josh's sentiment with, I think that, again, like all faith in Shy, I have no idea why Turtle was playing for LCS, frankly, when that came out. I didn't have the nicest tweet to say about TSM when they made that call, but I've been proven wrong. Chai is just the GOAT. Somehow he made each team better with that swap. And a lot of credit deserved to Neo. This is the second split in a row where Neo has been moved to the Challengers Academy level and actually just done so well. Keep in mind, he was the one that made finals with Dignitas last year and now opens up the first round with a huge upset over CLG and a good bot lane in Meech and Breezy for the regular season as he took him down.
And, you know, TSM, Neo, weekly pentas definitely doesn't hurt to that regard as well. You can definitely feel the momentum and hype coming off of them. Let's pull up our next team that is getting rooted for right now. This one comes from Smaxed. Gave her the question, and she replied with AoE. I feel like this one is going to be a little bit of a debate right now. I know we're not too high on AoE after their last game with Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a more interesting comeback if it's a possibility. Obviously, we'll be seeing them a little bit later today against Evil Geniuses. A potential for them to kind of stop the push to relegation for another week. But it is specifically about some of the strength that we've seen from them and the fact that they have Gamsu in playoffs. And, you know, he always gets some sort of buff.
And that was Summer's reason, by the way. Gamsu playoffs buff. That was it. Just 3 words for the reason. Do you agree with the playoffs buff, Gubby?
I can't argue with the past. You know, Gamsu's made 3 finals in a row. I don't think that's going to continue. But, you know, good for Gamsu and AoE. I actually think the real strength of AoE has actually been in their bot lane this split. And they are going up against Mobility and Smoothie. Of course, Mobility stepped in late as a sub. I think he's improved. He's done his best, but still, that is a matchup I think Lynx and SkyTech can actually win.
All right, let's pull up our next team. And this one is a team that's been making a little bit more waves as of lately. That is going to be FlyFam Grapes, Mad Magical, Kangas, all on board the FlyFam train. Magical just saying, I want to believe, man. I want someone to believe in. And hey, their
Shouldn't
last...
that be for CLG Faith?
That should be. It should be. They even got the win right now. I guess when you doubt them more is when they perform.
You know
but
what?
For FlyFam, that final week was good.
He takes the Fast and Furious approach. You know,
That's
it's all
what I
about
was
the
gonna
family.
say. Yeah. It is
put it in the family.
Put on the bald cap and be his best Vin Diesel. But I actually agree with this to some extent. I think FlyQuest had a really good resurgence at the end of the split, especially Lunasia. Masu has been, at least on the Challenger roster, one of those big standouts, and they have another piece like that in the FlyFam roster. So on 2 levels of development, I love to see that from FlyQuest, and it's just about finding the strengths there, and I can appreciate Kangas, Mad Magical, and Grapes going for it.
It was a team where it wasn't like they weren't getting early game leads. It was just that the mid game to late game, they were making bad calls, and it really feels like they've actually really patched up that mid game. So good to see out of FlyFam, and definitely one of our lower teams that has improved, which is good to see.
Yeah, I know we're pretty excited about the development, especially over in the top side. That's someone Grapes was pretty excited about. Said straight up, I believe in Lunasia. I believe in Hyper. Hyper slotting into that role.
The steals, man.
And to bring it up. Yeah, trying to get those steals. Let's see, were there any other quotes right there? No, that's it for right there. So let's pull up our last team, and that is going to be Evil Geniuses Challengers. Ooh, this one you can definitely make an argument for, but the thing is, we haven't seen it in their play as of recently. Rafa and Alk Battery on this train.
I think Shaden and Ryoma are really good, and it kind of puzzles me that this team is where they are. So I somewhat am also on that train, and they get to put up or shut up this afternoon. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with EG.
Will they be the first team knocked out on the Challenger level, just like last spring when they were the first Academy team to get knocked out of Proving Grounds in spring at least?
I could see this argued very easily both ways, because on paper there's so much talent. Shaden was in contention for our prospect last year. Soul had a lot of hype going when he played over on TSM, their LCS squad, and got touted as being one of the better top laners over the course of the time to develop and get into that spot. There is a lot of hype with it. It's just we haven't seen those pieces really come together, and that's what Rafa and Alk Battery are hoping for. They think the time is now. We might get that version of Evil Geniuses Challengers who can challenge the top of the pack and maybe make
Carry Jungles or Shaden's picks. We just saw NXI pop off on the Kindred. We'll see maybe if he can do the same later on.
Double-digit kills, 5-game run Shaden was able to do. That's a good argument right there, but we got to bring it back to the game. CLG Faith versus Wildcard. I'm not going to say I am the most surprised. I think there are some interesting consistency things we saw from Wildcard throughout the regular season, but I am pretty damn shocked, man. This was an intense turnaround for CLG Faith to come together. NXI, very impressed with his performance.
When we get out of the game, like Mazel and I, like our feed goes from like just the game to like we have a 4-box, and I just saw Eric. I'm gonna do my best impression of Deathrex. He was like,
just staring down. At
it was kind of like I don't want to say like it was like excitement shock. It was like a part of that, but it was also just like that just happened as well. And that's pretty much how we felt on the cast. Like going into this series, we're like, all right, Wildcard cleaned them up 2-0. I will say one of the games was actually kind of close when they did face the regular season, but then Garen happened like later. So happens. But I gotta say, like CLG Faith, they had big steals. Like they took the 2 objectives that were flipped. It went their way. I want to make sure that Wildcard doesn't give CLG Faith that opportunity. I think that early drag stack is really important for them. And then also drop the Annie. I know that Annie's a really strong pick right now, but I think that Saligo, he's really needs to be like that late game scaler, the team fighter. Get him back on the Orianna, maybe even the Gragas I really like from him. I think that's been a shortcoming for Wildcard, and they don't flex it with Duo Kings, so like it loses a lot of power in drafts. So that's why I'm kind of out of the Annie pick for Wildcard at the moment.
I mean, the Annie, we did see how it can work out really well. I think there was a very creative play from Saligo where he got found out in the mid lane and just teleported down bottom and still got an amazing Tibbers there. But to that fact, Wildcard need more facilitating that comes more from just the Annie to that regard, Mazel.
Yeah, I love some of those crucial picks that we saw them pick out. I think Moose Hater finding those back line engages was so huge. But it was the fact that The Braum was picked for a reason. You pull the Braum in every time, the Glacial Fish is coming down, and your team fight split in half. And we saw the spacing used a lot by CLG Faith, and I think that's something that Wildcard will have to take into perspective coming into the second game.
Yeah, I think the Moose Hater was actually getting a little bit too far ahead of the engages. That's one of the reasons, like, Sligo wasn't able to always follow up on the Annie. I think that Sligo did have a decent game on the Annie. It's not like he plays it poorly. I just think the way this team plays, they need that team fight power later. Yes, Annie brings that big AoE stun, but you play Annie to win mid-jungle 2v2. That's not the way that Wildcard plays the game. Just take the Ori and take the strength of that later in the game.
What about the Braum, though? You know, the Braum stealing away the Baron? I'm still in complete disbelief about that one.
We actually didn't get to look at that one in slow-mo, I don't think, to see exactly how that happened.
I want to know what the health was for that right when he got it.
The first thing I looked at was if he had Spellbook or not, and then I realized there was no Spellbook, and I was like, what the hell? How did he end up with that?
It absolutely blew my mind, and man, that's what you needed from CLG Faith in some of these critical moments. Just not the delivery we were expecting, to say the least. But hey, they won game number 1, and they're one game away from keeping playoffs hope alive. Let's see if they can do it against Wildcard, or if Wildcard will bounce it back. Mazel, Cubby, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Deserex. As we do, it is the developmental tournament that always shines the light on these crazy stories, on these crazy moments. And while we find ourselves on the brink of Wildcard getting eliminated, I do expect a bounce back from one of our better provisional teams, somebody who's shown a lot of grit throughout the regular season. They need to pull that out right now. Now, we get CLG Faith banning away those Tritons and Trues. We don't have a switch up of sides for this second game. While that Garen is banned away, we also get the Kindred from NXI banned away.
I'm still really looking for the change to be that Annie for Wildcard. I like Annie. She's strong again. I just don't think it fits Wildcard's playstyle. They aren't playing through mid. They aren't playing for the 2v2. So just take the scaling and go play elsewhere. That's kind of what I think. But we also see a quick adaptation from Wildcard. No Kindred for NXI. I feel like he did earn that ban. He
definitely did.
Yeah, I
have hair, all right? I have hair. You don't have to...
Yeah, you know, I know. I just, you know, I feel like earning bans, you know, it goes... I think a Kangas, because I want to ban him from ever playing League of Legends with me again.
Yes, please.
So
yes, please.
I apologize. I've
already done that. I've gotten the global mute on him now.
I like your Jhin better than his Pantheon.
There we go. I do like this, though. We get the kind of re-addition of the MF into the roster here for CLG Faith. Still some flexibility there. We'll see how that works out. But I do also like Wildcard banning away the Jax and letting that pick through a very big detriment to any team, and especially in that game 1, we showed a little bit why. We'll see the hover here from Wildcard. Still a lot of those power picks, those comfort picks coming through. It will be the Nunu. And last time I casted Wildcard's Nunu, it didn't work out so well for him, but I'm excited to see that revamp here from Keel and a little bit of a different approach as well.
You can make life hard for the MF, as well as that Dragon Prio that is so important. Really good for the side of Wildcard. Fiora taken. Do we see Bejani maybe throw down and take a skill matchup up here?
Do you think Keel's just say, I'm not losing any more smites? I need the chop, I need the smite, I need everything I can to secure these objectives.
Yeah, they're gonna take Cho'Gath mid next. You know, that's the move here for Wildcard.
It might actually be, but you never know.
Stack the true damage. We're gonna have Braum actually blind pick.
It's a lot earlier.
Pretty decent in the Nunu, as you can eat the snowball, as well as, you know, use the ultimate to actually stop the snowball or stop the channel of the snowball. So just make sure it just goes into Narnia. Not the worst pick, but it is support counter now going over to Wildcard. And I think that with the Braum as well, we did see the Jhin in MF. I do like that matchup. But now that we have Braum showing, oh boy, I said he had options.
Let's freaking go! CLG Faith put everything on the table here. Want to get that Riven matchup into the Fiora, where Moose Hater said, I want to be able to carry. I want the influence in the side lane. We get the fisticuffs drop. The Jinx also locked in for Wildcard.
Okay, well, for Wildcard, pretty solid frontline Jinx for the resets. We do have CLG Faith. They're showing us support, so I expect them to actually take a couple supports away they don't want to deal with when it comes to Duo King. I think a Zyra ban might be warranted here. But MF's actually really good on the Zyra plants, so maybe not. That passive gives you bonus damage in the plants.
It does.
So, curious, actually. I mean, the Riven...
There's the Zyra ban.
Yeah, I mean, the Riven pick it throws such a curious texture.
You're not ready. You're not ready for it.
I was not ready for this.
Not ready for it.
It's good later in the 1v1, but I think in the Nunu, it really struggles to actually get past the pick because Nunu is just so tough for melees to deal with. You're trying to get into the back line. So a lot of angle. We're going to have to look out for the angles for Bejani and if he can actually approach away from the Nunu as Wildcard. Going to take away another pick from NXI. No Jarvan. So it looks like Dual King not planning on playing Thresh. They just want to make sure their Jinx isn't locked up. And also Jarvan plus MF bullet time. That's a pretty good combo.
I really like Lens on the Jinx this time, though. Obviously, I'm the biggest fan of Jhin. You'll find probably one of them at least, but it does not give that point of pressure, even with those kills that we're getting, where you're like, oh my god, Lens is going to carry these games. Jinx is that flavor, and I love to see this anti-ban from CLG Faith, but now we're looking at that setup from Wildcard. While they did just take their first loss on the Blitzcrank, they're going right back to the well.
Still playing their picks, and I think that one thing the Blitzcrank was going to do, that MF. Yes, it was a lot of hooking sketch and trying to start off fights there, but there were some really big hooks that pressured MF while she was in the bullet time that we're able to connect from Duo King. Also, the silence, the knock-up into Riven, it's not bad. So don't mind the pick here from Duo King, as CLG Faith will have to round things out. Going to be Blind Victor.
Okay,
and let's see what NXI goes for into the Nunu. As, of course, Nunu really wants to play for the lanes. That would be a curious
That would
pick.
actually be so huge, though. Okay. I would actually like that because you do provide a lot of, interrupting to the Nunu. But this
engage.
Getting something that does have a little bit more strength in its own right and giving a little bit more priority to NXI is so huge. And the Wukong does do that while still being able to facilitate and having a very strong top two in the top side in the jungle matchup. It is that Orianna locked in for Saligo.
It brings engage, which was needed for CLG Faith, and I really like the Orianna for Saligo. I think it's his best champion, and the zone control, how much harder you can make life for the MF, and even the Victor is outside of the laser. Victor wants to approach fights. That ball can be really tough for the carries of CLG to deal with. So a lot of comfort here on the side of Wildcard, as they got to win 2 games in a row. Going back, some patented champs and strategies they've been using to be in the top half for standings for the whole year in this do or die game too.
It is do or die for them, and that comp where they can rely on late game, have some bridges in the early game, that is exactly their bread and butter. But we saw that bread and butter kind of thrown on the ground and stomped on a little bit by CLG Faith last game. This Riven pick does throw a big wrench in the works. How is it going to perform, especially Bejani having actually such a big impact in the later parts of the game in those team fights on the Jax? Does this change? He will still have that backline access, but we said a big part of last game came down to a bar of execution that was met by CLG Faith. We'll see if they can do so yet again. CLG Faith have improved into the playoffs as they took game 1 off a Wildcard. Wildcard are backs up against the wall now, 1 step away from relegation tournament in a month. Can they turn this ship around as we hit game 2?
30 seconds until minions spawn.
I mean, their last chance, they've already doubled the wins they've had all season. But you'd got to imagine that could leave a sour taste in their mouth. They aren't able to put that 3rd win on the board and actually pull off what would be a massive upset, sending Wildcard to that promotion relegation tournament. Calmer's reminding us, manager and native, a team that is trying to play in that tournament themselves, going through the OQs. So that'd be big if CLG Faith somehow dodges out on the promotion relegation tournament after being 1-29 for the regular season. That would be maybe the biggest upset that we have in the tournament, if we're going to be honest.
You needed that anime arc. We needed a couple more inputs there. Maybe you can get your anime arc input, though, if you use that hashtag NACL on your tweets. You will get to see them and maybe talk about them. But we will see the same side starts for both junglers. So I think a lot more priority given to this bot side of the map, but still looking at these kind of wraparound ganks, and NXI playing a little bit aggressive as well.
NXI, again, was so huge in that win last game. As he got things started with that Dragon Steal, the first Dragon Steal, and then the huge team fight to lock up the Soul. As he threw up a massive game on the Kindred. This time around, he's on engaged duty for this Wukong, so we'll see if he's up to the task. Definitely a very different role this game. As well played there by Sketch. Like the Q buffer once he gets the Rocket Crab. That's nice.
You see the back and forth that we've now seen 2 times in a row. As I do wonder how Duo King will change up his rocket grab strategies. As you said, a few crucial ones going in on the backline access, but a lot of them setting Sketch up for those Glacial Fissures. Really looking at those pools as we get later on, but also something that happened last game that I really liked was the early move from Duo King. It didn't get anything. He just got a little vision on NXI, but I need to see that continuation for Wildcard and kind of the cohesion we saw from CLG Faith last game over there for the Wildcard and the Stack the Deck team.
Again, Wildcard, a lot of their game plans surround getting that first dragon. So a lot of eyes for me going to be on that first dragon if they can secure it this time around. Make sure that CLG Faith doesn't throw them off their game early, as that was a big deal in game 1. Soul ended up becoming a big issue. But at the moment for Wildcard, Fiora and Orianna do bring some stronger lanes. Orianna does win this lane in the Victor, or at least you can contest Victor early. It's something that not a lot of laners can say. And also at level 6, if you do bring your jungler mid, there is some kill threat onto the Victor with, of course, that Shockwave. You can at least pull Victor's Flash if you need to. And if you think about the Azir matchup, Flash very important for Victor. So I know Wildcard, they aren't always the team that is playing, mid jungle 2v2 and pressuring mid, but I think it is an option for them this game, especially with the new.
I'm really wondering, as we get those full clears coming out, first forays into the Scuttle Crab skill will be easily able to secure that one. NXI will be wrapping around this bottom side, though, and some early blood down here could do so much to the CLG Faith roster.
He spotted. There's a snowball mid.
Snowball in mid. Town not having the exit here. Can he get away? First blood should go to Wildcard, but Saligo, they're taking up a pretty good amount. Not going to be enough, and Keel gets that first blood.
Really well done. They pull the flash out of Victor and get the kill. That's big because now they can revisit. Now, Bijani is actually walking mid, but I think he's going to be late. As that snowball, it comes back. And Keel, he's cruising on out as that's going to be first blood going over to Wildcard, and that's a nice look.
You get the trap calls. The Flame Chompers out. Aaron getting lower. Will not burn that heal or the flash, and just that trading back and forth. There will be the Ghost and the Ignite pop from the side of Wildcard.
Xai's here, and the ward's dead this time around. They did not get this wave all the way in. So you can see Duo King got to be a little bit cautious here. Okay, NXI is going to base, so this means that Wildcard, they can't get the next wave in. Aaron not going to stick around, surprisingly enough. As you can see mid lane, Town with no flash, the wave being here, it's very dangerous, and yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was getting silly. Just taking some pit stops mid,
How's this top lane supposed to go with Riven versus Fiora? I don't think I've seen Riven in probably years at this point. I mean, I think since last year, maybe.
It's Riven needs time and items to attack Fiora. She needs the damage. I'm not the best at this matchup, actually. This is one where a little bit of skill.
We're gonna find out together.
Yeah, a little bit of skill involved. I don't know. I might need to get like Sniper on call for this one. He probably knows how this matchup goes.
Very true. Very true. Shout outs to Sniper. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're getting better.
Yeah. Definitely though, Fiora in the early game is able to harass Riven with a lot of those vitals. She can play outside of the range, but Riven does have that one-shot potential, and if you don't parry the right thing, you can chain it and do a lot of damage.
You have another tweet on the board here. Genuinely so happy for CLG Faith. I think they can take this series. So proud of my boys and girls that make this team what it is. And so far, so good for the CLG Faithful. You have a little bit more faith in them now after that first game.
This is very dangerous.
It is pretty dangerous. Keel not one to let these go. Remember last time around, NXI stole that first dragon away from Wildcard. And here comes the rocket grab. Shockwave onto the back line here. Sketch getting low, and you're not tanky enough yet. That's a second kill to Wildcard. The Flame Chomper is not going to connect onto Aaron, but Lens is still chasing him down. The zap slows him, and that's a flash out. Lens flash it over the wall, and Wildcard, they're snowballing, but it ain't just from Nunu. Lens gets another kill.
They don't have flash on mid. They didn't have mid push, and Sligo just walks down, hits the shockwave, and hey, that's not a fight that CLG Faith can win. As Sligo, he's level 6, Town's level 5. He just got a free angle as they over-pursued bot. Keel's up with level 2. Really surprised that CLG Faith forced that so hard. There was just no play for them there, and that gives Wildcard a big lead early.
And this has been such a key for Lens in getting these aggressive flashes, but making sure these resources go the right ways. And Wildcard feeling themselves with this about 2,000 gold lead, a little bit more so here as well, coming through. Now, that dragon was the original focus for CLG Faith to try to get something early. Didn't get it because of that engage from Wildcard, and we will go without a new early objective in the early parts.
I mean, Wildcard, they're fine with that, right? Who cares? Just let the dragon go. They're like, you know what? We'll take the 2 kills. We'll take the 2k gold lead. It's not all bad. If you look at the items, some of these mid-lane matchups are starting to get pretty wonky. Orianna starting with the boots rush. She does get outranged at least by Victor's laser. So important that Sligo's going to be able to use that.
Lasers.
Yeah, going to be able to use that to consistently pressure Victor, who is still down flash for a little bit longer. And we'll see what the game plan is here for Wildcard around that Rift
It's a Dark Seal start, by the way, for Sligo. Saying, you know, I'm going to be a point of power myself.
Zelda.
Oh, no.
Oh, we don't read this. We recognize it. We don't read it.
Yep, nope, we're not reading it. Nope, well, a good
All
way. So what's that timer in the top right of our screen? I think it's a Baron. It looks kind of cool. No. In your actuality, if you do want to get involved in the conversation, make sure you're using that hashtag NACL. But as we do, we have a Rift Herald on the board. That dragon's still alive. We'll see as Wildcard, again, you said, fine with these objectives and maybe even that focus now with the priority given to the solo lanes for them.
Yeah, you can see Moosehater stacked up a real big wave, and he does have the TP, so he can base and TP back.
Also has like a 20 CS lead, by the way.
Yeah, as that wave was actually pulled by Bijani, but Moosehater not going to contest that. Still just going to base and TP back. That guarantees the fact that this Rift Herald does go over the side of Wildcard as they play that out nicely, given the fact that they have winning lane top, winning lane mid, and now winning Rift Herald fight. Skill grabs that. And
does he go to contest it?
yeah, he does.
I think he
going
does.
right over the dragon. Here comes Sligo too. He's got Shockwave.
They're all moving. You got the blast code over here for Wildcard as well. It looks like CLG Faith realized what was happening as a big old snowball started coming across mid lane. And they pull off the dragon yet again.
I don't think it's a fight they can take. It is. At first dragon, Quad Dragon does quite a bit of damage. It's not the best dragon, obviously, but it does guarantee that you're able to roll a better soul.
Oh, Moosehater. Pop that grand challenge. Thought he might go for that under tower. Obviously, Bijani having his ult popped as well, but won't be able to pull the trigger on that. And now going back in, actually, still has a lot of the strength given from the attack damage pop of that ulti. Getting traded heavily with those vitals, though.
Nice find. That's actually really bad for Bijani because that wave is now shoving into Moosehater. You can see Moosehater actually takes the back. He's going to be able to go shop and be just A-okay when he returns to that lane as that lane comes back to him. But Johnny at least has been able to even things up and will likely be on for that Gore Drinker. Is okay. NXI, he's here on the counter.
Oh, beautiful. It's a 3v3, though. Sketch is already getting low. There's a bullet time onto everyone, but Sketch is gone. The Cyclone able to shred a lot, but lands with the Mega Death Rocket. And here comes Gil. He can't get the bite down, but he will bite down onto Aaron, who's going to be able to put some damage back. Very heavy trades going back and forth, but it is just Sketch that falls. And now 4 kills to 0 for Wildcard and a dragon to boot.
Yeah, the wallet's a little bit bigger for Wildcard, and that silence being very valuable there for Dokking. It did buy enough space for Lens to ghost his way out of there. Nearly turned it around with the Super Mega Death Rocket. Will not be the case. Wildcard, they'll just take the kill, and the Dragon, and they're still rolling in this game.
So far, so good for Wildcard in that bounce back from game number 1, where they weren't able to execute on a lot of the team comps and the fights that we saw. CLG Faith really showed us what was what. This was the response I was kind of expecting for Wildcard. They needed to find some strength here, and they have so far. Town getting that shockwave used on him, but he does have Sketch and Bijani here. Keel's going to walk right into the trap, but he sees Sketch a little early there.
At no dice, Bijani did have that mid-wave crash, so he was trying to see what he could do out on the map, but Keel not going to take the bait. And it is now a 3k gold lead for Wildcard, and they've yet to drop the Herald. So Wildcard, looking at this draft, definitely a lot of comfort for them, Mazel. And it feels like so far that has paid off for the side of Wildcard as... Ooh, wasn't quite able to stop the base.
Close. But that was the same in game number 1. But I think there are some key differences, right? And I think Lens having this Jinx, a big difference in its own right. But it is, Keel on this Nunu having a little bit more proactivity than I would say he had on the Bel'Veth.
Nice slice up there by Bijani to avoid the stun. He's flashing in.
Okay. Trying to get the stun. Doesn't do so. Moosehater just easily walking away from that one.
He didn't have Ghosts, but will be Summoner Spells burn on the side of Bijani as Moosehater. He's a little bit scared of the dive at the moment. NXI is making his way up here maybe after the Gromp, but still is just
Vital trades are actually helping out Moosehater. He's going to pop that grand challenge. Bijani trying to get the 1v1, but Moosehater whole-handedly takes that one. A solo kill again to Moosehater.
And while that was going on, first brick falls in favor of Wildcard on the bot side. So Wildcard truly turning around what was a game 1 win for CLG Faith. What is now looking like might be a quick game 3 here for us, Mazel, as this is a 6k gold lead before plates fall. And I love this rotation from Wildcard. 5 plates available on the top side. They got a minute to help out the Jinx. Yeah, why not just feed more plates over to Lens? You said, rightfully so, the big carry trying to get excited for this comp.
Absolutely is, and give him the resources, he shall deliver. He's almost 2,000 gold up, or more than 2,000 gold up on Aaron at this point. See him actually try to crash this down. Sketch is here, NXI is here. They'll take the engage onto NXI, realizing that Sketch is there. We'll back away. Aaron has come up here to defend. Lens is going to start cracking away here. Oh, nope, never mind.
I'd actually love to see Swifties here from Duo King. Going up against Braum slows, MF slows, later Victor slows. And also your W on Blitzcrank does slow you itself on the back half. I know it's not the most popular choice, but I think it'd be a really good one here for Duo King on the Blitz. At the moment, 30 seconds till plates fall. Wildcard trying to secure that 6k gold lead now. They have, oh boy. Unfortunately, Mazel for CLG Faith, it's looking like some of the games that were closer to the regular season.
Yeah.
And not what we saw in game 1. As, okay, this could be good.
Hey, get a catch on a Duo King here. NXI is here as well.
Nice.
The Glacial Fisher used. Here comes Keel, though. Duo King makes it out, and the stuns come through. Duo King finally dies. The bullet time will be able to separate it. Here comes everything from Wildcard, though. And Lens has gotten 2 kills now, and he's looking for a 3rd. You give him the carry, and he will do just that. Wildcard 8-1.
So Vigo was able to move. He's here for the play, and Lens, he's going to keep on cruising along, because that's another tower that's going to be falling in favor of Wildcard. I mean, what a different game from them. Look like a different team. You can see the Jinx emotes even as Duo King. Hey, face checks Braum. It's an okay trap from Sketch and Aaron. But Braum, or Blitzcrank, very tanky here. He was able to live for so long.
Heal coming in as well, just a big separation there, and while it is only on the Sketch, I think it separates the fight enough to where now NXI is a little bit left out to dry. He tries to go back in, but then by the time this happens, you know, Soligo has made that roam.
Yeah, dropping a wave mid for 2 kills on Jinx and a kill yourself. I'd say that's well worth it. Favor a Wildcard. I've seen enough of kills Nunu this year to be permanently worried about this champion forever now. Well, you know what? Super K-Man rocks. That's why you have one ban solo queue. And that's why you should use it on Master Yi or Trinimir. But if you want to use it on Nunu, it's your choice to make.
That's your choice. We'll not judge you for it, at least. But this Rift Herald does go over. And
ban Yi.
Okay, I used to ban Yi a lot.
Yeah.
I blame Blitzcrank. Because I just don't trust people to not get hooked by rocket grabs. Well, you know, my solo queue doesn't matter at that point. This is what matters, and it is a dragon on the table, a second dragon for Wildcard. And it's just the kind of execution of comp we needed to see from them, but also the reliance on comfort, the reliance on carries in the late game that they've already gotten the bridge over to.
And see one Radiant Virtue in here for the Nunu. And Orianna, pretty good shape in this game, especially Luna's going to feel really good going up against pretty much all squishies. Riven, a lot of effective HP with the Gore Drinker and the shields, but still pretty good for the side of Wildcard, as I don't know what can really slow them down this game, Mazel.
Yeah, the other thing
really
that I find interesting is, like, a majority of this Wildcard roster was a part of our probably most historic amateur / semi-pro run last year in Proving Grounds. And you expect them to be right back in that conversation this year, even with the change of the warg, change of some of the roster pieces. But you have to remember, these guys are gritty. They are a team that is looking at the upper echelons of this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, they took 5th, 6th in the summer of last year, the core being Moose Hater, Duo King, and Keel. I mean, yeah, given that, but also, I mean, a lot of the results of this regular season, keep in mind, this was our top provisional team for most of the season. It wasn't until Fear overtook them later, especially after the 2-0 that Fear had over Wildcard. We started to consider them our top provisional team. Wildcard where the team look out. Oh boy. Oh,
Down is locked out. He flashes, but still onto the Flame Chompers.
Yeah.
And Lens is on a rampage now. Another tower falls. That's all 3 outers gone. 17 minutes in.
This was the wild card that was in the top half of our standings for the entire season. As like this team, I think one of the big changes we've seen from them when they do play with leads, it's been really sound. How they've been moving around the map, utilizing the Nunu especially. It's been a good game from Keel, and it feels like CLG Faith just no answers. And a lot of that started with Keel open things up mid. This Victor into the Orianna hasn't been able to do anything this game, Mazel.
Yeah.
Part of that being the focus from Keel, but also how well Soligo's played out this matchup. He's always been down flash and still falls.
And it's also just about some of those key bans coming across from Wildcard, taking away some of the very powerful picks from game one, the Kindred, the Jax. I think those really enabled a lot of the early game skirmishes, and especially for Jax, the late game parts for CLG Faith. So not having those tools makes it a lot more difficult, and you're seeing those gold deficits.
Yeah.
There's almost 4,000 gold difference between Lens and Aaron.
I like you bring up the draft adjustments too, because I always kind of had the theory, especially like back when I coached, especially, you know, collegiate level, just don't allow a team to beat you with the same thing twice.
Yeah.
And Wildcard, they took that pretty serious. That's a flash. Okay, well, he's fine.
again.
He's dead.
He's saying, why Keel? Why are you doing this to me? Soligo gets the killing spree, and that'll be 3-0 for the mid laner Wildcard, and they just keep finding the picks left and right.
Yeah, it's like one of those games where I see that pick and I'm like, oh, Wildcard might be able to do Baron now. And then you realize that Baron's just not on the map yet, so.
There's the Rift Arrow drop.
Yeah, pretty accelerated here
enough.
for Wildcard. That's probably going to lead to an inner turret falling. And while this is being hit, a lot of
It's
inners being hit.
10,000 gold at 18 and 19 minutes.
And Bazel, this is I would say, closer to what we expected the series to be than what happened in game one.
It absolutely is, and that's where we had put a lot of the kind of talk in the coming into the series about Wildcard, because we knew that they were not the underdogs coming into this one. And it was such a beautiful surprise to see that level up from CLG Faith in game number one. And now they're going to really need a level up either in this game or next game as well. And it's just about re-attacking that draft and finding those power points that help CLG Faith work in that first game, giving NXI a lot of that priority in the skirmishing from 3 to 6.
If you remember what the original Challengers series was with promotion delegation in the LCS, you'll get this joke. All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
We'll see in game 3 if CLG has any maybe red side strats prepped, or if they're a blue side strat only team.
Jeez, man, come on now.
That's
too
it.
old, man.
That's an old one. That's a real old one. Really dating myself with that one.
Nobody's gonna understand that whatsoever.
All right, so if you don't know that one, it was okay. Never mind. We have fights. Duo King.
All right, Duo King getting caught up. But here comes Keel. I mean, this has all been a bait, baby. Duo King goes down to NXI though, and that'll be CLG Faith getting on the board. Dragging up at 40 seconds. They can't really do anything with it right now, but Moose Hater is on a flank, and Wildcard look like they might be wanting to take a fight here.
Blitz will be back in time, but Wukong Alp being down, that is really the one engaged piece for CLG Faith. If CLG Faith actually wants to start a fight, they're going to need
catch out
someone to
Moose
face
Hater. Johnny hasn't found him yet. He's just hanging out in that chicken brush right there. Aaron getting poked down pretty heavy from Soligo. Here comes the biggest snowball ever. Doesn't connect, and Keel now gets the focus. CLG Faith just want to fight somebody, but they've got to turn and fight Moose Hater. He almost takes down Town, but has to give him a little bit of a love to walk away. There's the Mega Death Rocket! Lens is unstoppable!
Just like how everything went in favor of CLG Faith in game 1, game 2, it's been all Wildcard Mazel, as this map is there. So even that snipe, that's just sending the message, man. That feels bad. Yeah. Cool guys don't get explosions either. Lens. Blowing that one up. I will say, so...
Oh, Bajani. Okay. Well, doesn't make it out. And there you go. There's the electrical combo.
Is that Baron?
Might just be. I mean, already Keel's on it. So, not going to be giving that one over. And I think Keel took to heart losing some of those objectives in game number 1. I'm just going to say probably not read too much into it. But man, Wildcard have made sure to get all of these objectives and make sure to control the map completely with a lot of the vision they put down as well.
Yeah, he put the clamps down on the map, you know, especially with the jaws. I'm not gonna make any more bad references. Can we go back to the hotshot one though?
We can't go back to the hotshot one.
This is a fun one. Back in season 2, so hotshot, of course, the owner of COG, I think it was season 2 Worlds. He said that they only prepped blue side strats. Thought like blue side was OP, or they had a bunch of strats prepped specifically for blue side, and they lost the series when they didn't get blue side for it. Ironically, the best play they made that
Aaron has no mana.
Was a red side backdoor with triple TP. I'm going to keep on talking about the story.
No, I'm here for it.
Yeah, this is not going to lead to anything. Unless Soligo wants to have fun. Okay. Well, you know.
Yeah, a little bit of throwback. Flashes out. Now Soligo overextended after flashing forward. He's about to go down. Bajani, that's the double TP from CLG Faith. Moose Hater's out by himself. He tries to get one beautiful flash from Sketch. And a double kill comes through for an XI.
Well, all this going on, Wildcard have been shoving lanes, but they actually can't take any turrets. They got to cut off this wave to even have a chance of hitting mid-outers, so it's just a freebie over the CLG Faith. We'll take that. I don't think it's going to make a difference in this game as well, but hey. So Leo was trying to send a message.
They're only 11.5k behind them.
He's trying to send a message.
You know, the important thing is that NXI, while this has been a really rough game, it's 4-1 on the Wukong. So not too shabby from him. 2 games in a row, really trying to be a carry for CLG Faith. And that Black Cleaver, like you said, Cyclone not available. They're trying to just defend this outer, or this inner tower at least. Maybe even get a re-engage on Duo King. As now the TP's coming through. Bullet time is enough. Town gets the kill. TP will be there for Moose Hater. And a nice slowdown. The rest of Wildcard have now joined the fight here. And CLG have to run under their tower. That will not be here for much longer.
And CLG, they're finding kills, finding health bars, but it still is the objectives going over to Wildcard. CLG is too far behind. Too bad, honestly, because Wildcard is making a few...
Throw some fights, man.
Yeah, they're making a few oopsies. Okay, no minions, no problem.
But still, this lead does give a lot of breathing room to Wildcard to flex their muscles a little bit. I know that's something we wanted to see from them, because we have seen them crush out teams that they should, in all reality, do, because their macro has been so good. They scale for late game. They will just crush out opponents with that full frontal assault from draft to finish. But it wasn't the same case here. I think that adaptation in game to go into game 2, super huge, and we'll keep harkening back to that. And it is now Wildcard just really trying to get this to game 3 and figure out how to approach that third game and if there's going to be any changes there. But CLG Fate don't want to give them an easy path to that victory.
If any band's going to be swapped up by the side of CLG Faith, it's going to be dropping the not Garen band and the not Senna band.
Sketch getting caught out here. Aaron just trying to slow down, but Sketch not going to make it out. We'll be able to buy some time here. As Kill claims the kill. We're pushing on the bot side for Wildcard.
Throwing snowball. I feel like throwing snowballs to kill Braum is just like, that's... Maybe that's not lore accurate. Like, this guy catches all the poros, you know?
Snowball's too big, though. Snowball's too big. It's the biggest snowball ever. I mean, come on.
Well, you threw small snowballs at him.
Well, I don't know what to say about those. Maybe they're just too rapid fire. You know, the Braum isn't used to getting like 1,000 poros thrown at him in like 5 seconds.
I'm sorry, Mazel. This game is pretty over from like the last 5 minutes. We're getting out there, you know? We're thinking about what
Talking about the trajectory of poros and how many you have to throw at Braum.
That's how you know we're getting out there.
I'm actually kind of curious now. Maybe we go outside and I throw a bunch of fuzzballs at Angus and we use that as like a reference pool for if Braum was able to catch a bunch of snowballs.
It's our controlled variable. We could turn this into an experiment.
I think that'll be a worthwhile experiment. We'll get all the resources that we need.
So we are 10 seconds away from Soul.
Oh my God. Soligo does so much to Machado. He just came over that wall. He's like, nope, I'm out of this one. The biggest snowball ever does connect. And XI with the flank here. The Cyclone on the 3. Be nice to have separation. Nice double knock up there as the second Cyclone came in. Lens kiting out beautifully, though. And here comes Moose Hater on the flank. Wildcard should clean this one up. The kill actually goes back to Aaron, but it gets rocket grabbed right back in. And that will be the ace going through. And Wildcard pushing us to game 3.
Who needs the Soul, man? Wildcard, they bounce back. I can't believe this series is going to game 3, quite frankly. But CLG Faith, they put up a great game 1 with a few steals. Wildcard put up a much better game 2 as they really shut down CLG Faith. Didn't get to play on the map at all this game as well, as these cover picks Wildcard really paid off.
Well, Lens does go down one time. It is Wildcard that rises to the occasion. They will not be put into the relegation tournament just yet, and we will go to our game 3. I'm so excited to see what we get in our draft, but I'm even more excited to see what we get in our Rally Cry halftime show. We'll be back in just a little bit.